What is up, people? It is me, Monster58, and welcome back to another video review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Legacy Evolution Leader Class Prime Universe Dreadwing. Now, this is a figure that I probably, more or less wanted to review before any of the Legacy United stuff came out, but guess what? This guy came in real late in terms of, when he was released, and I wasn't able to actually get this figure before all the Legacy United stuff came in, and funnily enough, even though I placed an order on Big Bad Toy Store for this guy, I placed a pre-order for this guy, it still hadn't come in, and very luckily I was at Walmart the other day, taking a look around, ended up finding this guy on the shelf, canceled my pre-order, ended up buying him in store, which very rarely happens, but finally, we do have Dreadwing, and I'm very, very happy to have this guy. So, taking a look at the box here, obviously, this is Legacy Evolution, so you do have the nice artwork there of Dreadwing. You have the Prime Universe Dreadwing text right there, you have the Legacy Evolution stuff, you have Transformers right here, the Generations and the Takara logo, got some more nice artwork of Dreadwing here on the side, got some more nice artwork of that Legacy Evolution stuff that we saw all those months ago. And finally, here you do have your obligatory product shots, transformed in 29 steps, and then you do have the Evo Fusion, which is just, whatever, who cares at this point, right? Now, keep in mind that if you do have the Legacy Skyquake, this is relatively pretty much the same figure, just with a repaint and with a little bit of retooling specifically for the weapon, but also just some sort of improvements in general when it comes to the figure, and I'll definitely point those out when it comes to this figure. But overall, if you have Skyquake, then you know what you're getting with this guy for like 90% of it. So, without further ado, alrighty, folks, here we have the Transformers Legacy Evolution Leader Class Prime Universe Dreadwing in his jet mode. And what I will say is, between Dreadwing and Skyquake when it comes to the colors, honestly, out of the colors, I do prefer Dreadwing, but I do really still like Skyquake if I had to choose one or the other. And so when it comes to this jet mode, I mean, it's again very much the same thing that you saw with Skyquake, just literally in different colors. But what you can see here, some very nice, the blue paint is really, really nice. I do really like that. You have some nice detailing here as well. Got the nice red instead of the transparent sort of amber color that we had on Skyquake. You do have the Decepticon logos here with the gold here for the Decepticon logos. Some nice gold accents here. A little bit of gray to break up all this blue, but you do have nice molded detail here on the I'm guessing, I'm not exactly sure what this is called, but just nice molded detail, so I'm not going to say anything further beyond that. Some nice molded detail here. Again, the red, more red here. And then taking a look at the side, when it comes to the jet, I still think it's a pretty solid jet, although not perfect. It is a bit chunky on the underside, but for the most part, nice. Here it is from the backside. You can see the 3 boosters. Very, very cool here. Overall, really solid jet mode, even though I don't think it's perfect. I think it's a bit chunky on the bottom. But for the most part, it does look really cool. And these wing bits, if you guys don't remember, are not made out. They're made out of harder plastic, but they're a bit more malleable, obviously, to not incur someone to, poke themselves on it. So, obviously, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a comparison with Skyquake, and that's the major comparisons we're going to be doing in this video, is really just doing it with Skyquake. So, setting Dreadwing off to the side there. Alrighty, folks, here we have Dreadwing with his twin brother Skyquake. Now, when it comes to these two, again, it's personal preference. The details and the paint are about the same. The actual difference that I'm noticing here and now, that I didn't even notice when I was looking at them initially, is Skyquake actually has no Decepticon logos on his wings here. Maybe are they on the inside? I can't remember. I don't think they were. Yeah, they weren't even on the inside here. So it's a bit of a shame that Skyquake actually had some removed detail when it comes to that. But these are painted silver. These are actually solid blue. So there is a little bit of trading back and forth when it comes to the actual details. But still, if I had to choose, I do prefer Dreadwing's color scheme. I do like the silver bits here on Skyquake more than on Dreadwing with just the regular sort of, well, this is more of a darker silver, but I do prefer the brighter silver on Skyquake at least. But still, these two look very nice together. Again, I'm really happy to have, this duo that we never got to see work together because obviously, spoilers, in the show, Skyquake gets killed by Bumblebee. In the episode that he's in, immediately gets killed by Bumblebee when he crash lands after Bumblebee rips a bunch of his stuff out of the jet mode and he crashes, whatever, right? But yeah, overall, pretty solid. Again, I'll just do a little bit of comparison here. You can see what they look like from the back here. So they look like from the sides here. Sorry, I can't quite fit Oh, there, we were able to fit it, but you can see that. You can see what it looks like from the front, and then we can see what it looks like from the top, just so you guys have an idea of the differences between these guys. But yeah, here is the comparison with his brother. I think they look great together. Really nothing else to say when it comes to that. What I will say is actually we're going to get into, I was going to remove Skyquake, but thinking about it, there's one thing I'd like to show off, is that you can store the gun on the underside. So we're going to remove Skyquakes here, and then I'm going to set Skyquake off to the side, and we're actually going to remove Dreadwings here. And then you'll just compare them. So taking a look here, this is what the major retooling is mainly this, is that the sword that comes out on both of these guys, they are, this one's red for Dreadwing. Let's see if I can, sorry about that, guys. God, I didn't have nails, so I couldn't remember, like, particularly how to do this without nails, because I don't have any nails on me. I do have tweezers, but they're, like, too far. But yeah, you can see the differences here when it comes to the sword. Obviously, red versus the amber. I do prefer the red over the amber, but at the end of the day, the one thing I do kind of miss is I do wish that Dreadwing had his, like, sword from the show. He had this really cool sword. This is cool, but it's not the sword that I remember from the show. So there's that. Very easy. It's just you put this in like so, and these will go in perfectly fine. You do have the same functionality here with Dreadwing, or as Dreadwing as you do with Skyquake, but the other difference here is the actual gun. Now, this is more of Dreadwing's cannon that we saw in the show versus the actual, like, minigun that, Skyquake had. So you do have some nice molded in differences here, so you can definitely see that these are different. Very nice for them to do that for each character, but that's really about it for the retool differences in terms of any molding. So saying that off to the side again, very easy. There's just that peg hole right there. Then you just have that peg here on the bottom, and then you just do this, and there we go. And so that's really about it for the jet mode and the comparison. Alrighty, folks, now that we're done with the comparison and just taking a look at the guns, we're actually going to go ahead and take a look at the transformation, which, again, when it comes to this guy, I don't really find all that difficult. Again, if you, and I find it pretty good, actually, and this is where they made some improvements. If you have Skyquake, you have an idea of what you're getting into, but it has had just a couple of small improvements, and there's the one major one I'll show you when we transform this guy. So, to transform this guy, we're going to first remove this, and then we're just going to close all the landing gear. What I like to do first is to lift the wings up and unpeg them from what will become the legs, and then you can just sort of extend these out like so. And what you're going to do is twist them and then rotate them down like so. Do the same thing here, twist them and then rotate them down. You're going to need to twist this part's a little tight because the joints are tight on this. Do this. Oh, God. There we go. Goodness me, those are tight. There's that. So rotate them down like so. And then very simple, what you're going to do is take this winglet, and then you're just going to rotate it. And then what you'll notice is that there's a peg hole there, and then there's a peg there. You just got to rotate it up into that, and then you can fold the foot out. You can rotate this forward like this. Same thing here. You can just rotate this forward. You can fold the foot out, and then take this winglet, fold it out, fold it up here, and then just tab it into that little spot. Essentially, you have Dreadwing's lower body finished already. So to do the upper body, what we're going to do is take these, and we're going to actually, I'm going to move the camera up so you guys can actually see. Hello, stupid. You're going to move these off to the side. And what you're going to do is you're going to untab this section here. And you're going to fold them out like this. And what you're going to want to do is rotate these backwards like this. Like so, and then you're going to want to rotate each one of these sections, and then you can take the winglets and fold them however you feel fit, so that they're out of the way, but you're going to want to rotate these around regardless. I'm going to fold that up so you get more clearance here, and then what we're going to do is we're going to leave these open for now. What we're going to do is we're going to take the arms, and these will fold out of the center here, and we're just going to split them, and we're going to rotate them forward. Helps get them out of the way. And what we're going to do is we're going to fold the top of the nose cone down, and then we're going to fold this entire section and assembly around. Make sure to rotate these sort of upwards as well while you're doing this. And then what you're going to want to do is sort of shove this in, and you'll see this is where it reveals his head, so we're just going to push his head down. And you'll notice that there's sort of this, bring this bit down. you'll notice there's like this slider joint here right on this crotch section. So what you're going to want to do is, if you look closely in here, there's this little rivet here, and then this blue section has like a tab in it that's supposed to lock in here. So when you have this down, what you're supposed to do is fold these in and make sure you lift up the cockpit so that opens a little bit. And you're going to essentially want to peg these together and make sure that the cockpit is over the center of where you peg these two together. And so peg these together like so, and you can see how like the cockpit is sort of straddling the two parts of the wing here, like so. You can just leave it like this. This is how I personally like to leave it, like that. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to like sort of, we'll just do this actually. What you'll see is that slider joint, right? You're going to want to push this in just enough, and then you're going to want to see that there is a tab section right there in the crotch, that tab section right there where my thumbnail is, and then you're just going to want to push this in like so. Make sure it's straight as well. Like that, and there, you should have something like this. And then with these sections, you're going to want to push these up so that these sections, that like those tabs go into those grooves like I showed you on each side. Like this, and then you're going to want to tab it together. Sorry about that. Then you're going to want to tab this all together. Like so. Just make sure everything is good here. You're going to have to readjust. Now, what they did with Dreadwing, with difference with Skyquake here, is that they made these little groove sections way deeper, and they made the tabs, I believe, a little thicker, so that you're more easily able to put those in, because before it would not slide and be pretty flush like this on the original Skyquake figure. So, very, very nice that they decided to go and do that. Alright, sure everything is good here. Now you can rotate the arms down. Like so. Then you can extend them out like this. Rotate the fists out, then take the gap filler and fold that down. Rotate the fist out, fold the gap filler down. Take the shoulder pads, put those down like this, rotate them forward. And well, ladies and gentlemen, here we have the Transformers Legacy Evolution Leader Class Prime Universe Skyquake in his robot mode. And yeah, guys, Dreadwing here looks absolutely amazing. I mean, I can't deny that when it comes to the Prime Universe figures, out of all the ones that we've gotten so far that have been released, Skyquake and Dreadwing are by far, in my opinion, the best of them, because they really are able to take, you know, what made the characters iconic in the original source material from Transformers Prime, give them a modern twist, but still make them recognizable. I think when it comes to like Bulkhead and RC and even Knockout, I do think that although they do capture the essence of those characters, it's so far of a departure from what we saw in the original source material that even though I do enjoy the figures, at the same time, they are not the best representations of what we saw on screen when it came to those characters, and that's a bit of a shame. Like, you know, it really does suck, but with these guys, I think they did a fantastic job. And so taking a look at Skyquake, at Dreadwing here, you can see the major differences, again, is really the paint. Taking a look at the head sculpt, you can see the head sculpt is gorgeous. You have the gold, the gold with the crest, you have the nice blue, and then you do have red translucent bits for the eyes. It's hard to tell. The light piping, it's really hard to even get any. But you have the nice red here for the chest with the Decepticon logo as well. You have the nice gold and blue going here, and obviously, just like Skyquake has for his gun, Dreadwing can hold both of the hold the gun like, you know, it's a big Gatling gun, essentially, a big cannon. You have the nice details going here through the crotch and even in the abdomen chest area right here. You can see that very nice. Going down here, just really nice all around. Backpack is honestly whatever. It works, you know, for a character like this. But the issue with this character, I mean, with this figure, still when it comes to, I say the major issue with this robot mode is this. He's very top-heavy still, and he very easily falls over, especially if you don't have the knees cocked correctly. If this guy's leaning back just a little bit, this guy will topple over. So if you see, yeah, you can see if he's leaning back just a little bit, not even a lot, just a little bit, he'll topple over. But overall, still really awesome-looking robot mode, and I'm very, very happy the fact that I have both Dreadwing and Skyquake. Speaking of which, We're going to set this guy off to the side and we'll bring out his brother. Alrighty, folks, and here we have Skyquake with Dreadwing, and I gotta say these two look awesome together. I mean, again, they're twins, and I think that obviously when it comes to at least like in Transformers Prime, they really didn't have like the same character just repainted and retooled slightly over and over again. No, these are the only two characters besides like the Vehicons that were really just like copy and paste characters. But at the end of the day, they had pretty distinct personalities. Skyquake was a little more aggressive. He was a little more like no BS. Dreadwing was still had that in him, but was a little more reserved. He had, he was able to think more for himself. And at the end of the series, he actually betrays Megatron, and Megatron kills him for it. But yeah, some really cool stuff. These two look great together. And again, what I'll show you here is on my copy of Skyquake. You can see this does not like to go in. It does not like to raise up and go in at all, and so that is one of the improvements that I mentioned that they did make with the Dreadwing figure over Skyquake. But yeah, pretty solid stuff. Again, these two look great together. I can't wait to have them on my shelf together. Alrighty, with that out of the way, let's get into the articulation. So we're actually just going to remove Mr. Dreadwing's gun here. So again, the articulation, head is on a ball joint, so you do get a full 360. You get, actually, I think it's on a ball joint and a swivel, but mainly a ball joint. Up and down movement, it's pretty good. If we move this, the shoulders can do a full 360. And technically have a butterfly joint when you do that. You also have a rotation at the upper part of the bicep, more than 90 at the elbow, and then you have wrist articulation as well, which is very nice. In addition to that, as you've seen, you do have full waist when I was doing the transformation, so that's very, very nice. If you can kick forward, that's the only issue. You can kick forward about that far, and that came completely undone. Probably my own user error mishandling of the figure, but you can kick forward about that far. You can kick back. It's just a bit inhibited by the backpack. You do also have a 90-degree bend at the knee. Then you have a upper thigh rotation as well, and then you do have some okay ankle rocker. Not really. I mean, you have enough to do some decent poses. This guy can still pull off some cool poses, just not as cool as you want. And obviously, sort of built into the transformation, you do have an ab crunch, so that's pretty nice for this figure. Even though it's not necessarily intended just for the articulation, it's more of a transformation thing. It is still very, very nice that you do have that option if you'd like to do that. So overall, pretty solid articulation. Nothing groundbreaking or crazy, but just solid all around. Alrighty, folks, it's time to get into the reverse transformation. So, to do that, we're just going to obviously remove the gun from his hand, and that ended up being relatively easy. And then he toppled over because he's top heavy. Ah, man. I'm just going to do that. Alright, so first thing I like to do here is what we're going to do is actually go to the feet. I'm just going to fold the toes, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take the winglets, and we're just going to fold them out like this. And what you'll notice is that there is a little tab right there. Tab hole, and you just have to line it up with the tab right there. You can see that tab right there, and you just gotta line these up. Very easy. Rotate these out, line them all up, and essentially you should be good when it comes to that. So there's basically his legs. So from here, what we're gonna do is we'll actually do the other leg parts last. So we'll fold the gap fillers, fold the fists in, or just the hands in general, fold those in. So fold the gap fillers out, fold the fists in, and then what we'll do is we'll accordion this like so, accordion that like so as well. Keep that straight. We'll untab the bottom section here, and then what we're actually going to do is we're going to rotate these all the way around. So what I like to do, grab the gray bits and then just rotate them around like so. God, they're still so tough. And then you're going to want to rotate the legs like this. So we'll actually fold the arms out like this so that they're out of the way. You're just going to fold them like this and just have them ready like this in place. Do the same here. So just rotate them all the way around like this. And then just rotate them forward so that the back are facing the front, and then you can just rotate these like this for now. Then on the back, what we're going to do, we're going to untab all of this. We are going to fold these up, and we are going to rotate these back around to where they originally were, like this. So we're going to do that. Hold these back up, rotate these around, like so. Take this section, rotate it all the way up, and then sort of rotate these to get them out of the way. Just helps make everything a little bit easier. Make sure the head is straight so that this will all fit together nicely here. So we're going to fold the nose as well. Start to fold that out. Fold that like that. Get the nose out like so. And then from here, what we're going to do is we're going to rotate these sections up and around like this. Do the same here. Take them up and around. Might have to push the legs just a little bit down, but take them up and around. Don't want to bend it like that. That's my bad. Don't want to. So we'll rotate this around like that. Rotate them like that. Remember, keep these folded like this. Then you can close these. Close that like that. Like so. From here, what we're going to do with the arms is we're going to rotate them like this. Rotate them in. Then you're going to want to peg them together. Now all you got to do is push them down like this. Oops. Make sure that they're accordioned in. Push them down. And they'll essentially just tab right into place here. Make sure everything is tabbed in like that. You can fold these forward like so. Take the legs. Just push them in. And then what you'll notice is that there's a tab right there. There is a tab hole there. And you're just going to want to line those up. Tab that into place. Straighten these out. Again, same thing on this side. Make sure it looks like this on the bottom. You can tab that in like so. Make sure everything is tabbed in correctly. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, here we do have the Transformers Legacy Evolution Leader Class Prime Universe Dreadwing back in his very, very cool looking jet mode. Alrighty folks, and from my final and concluding thoughts on the Transformers Legacy Evolution Leader Class Prime Universe Dreadwing, this guy is really solid. I mean, if you have Skyquake, you already have an idea of what you got with the Sky, but they did make improvements mainly with that little slider joint as well as that like clipping point on the back in his backpack when you actually have to like clip essentially part of his wings into his back so that they will stay there and stay there securely. They ended up making those peg holes deeper, and they made the pegs themselves thicker as well from what I understand and from what I've seen. And so, when it comes to this figure, I overall think it's pretty solid. If I had to tell you to pick one of the two up, definitely Dreadwing out of the two, just due to the fact of the quality control stuff. It's really nice to get that improvement over with this figure over the original Skyquake figure, although I do think that both of these figures are really solid. They really do strike this amazing balance between the original show while giving us a modern twist on how they look, but still being extremely recognizable from the original source material. And that leads me on to the other good things, which is the paint on this thing is really cool. Although the accessory is a little, it's whatever. At the end of the day, it does represent the canon that he had in the show very well. In addition to that, it is very nicely painted and very nicely molded, and they made it distinct enough from Skyquake so that you do recognize the Dreadwing character in this. Obviously, the major other thing besides any of that retooling with the gun is mainly in the paint here, and I do think that Dreadwing does look a bit better than Skyquake, although it's really personal preference when it comes to which color scheme that you prefer. So overall, out of a 10, I'm going to give this thing an 8. I still think it's a great figure, and I do recommend picking it up, but I will say it is a bit pricey, and which is why I'm also sort of giving it only an 8, because at the end of the day, even though I do think it's a really good figure, the price still can be a bit steep for people, and I totally understand that. And so, when it comes to me picking this figure up, I did pick mine up IRL, but he is still available for pre-order on Big Bad Toy Store, so leave a link in the description to that. I'll also see if I can leave links to both Amazon and Hasbro Pulse for this guy as well. But yeah, I think that's about it, so I thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. Please like, comment, rate, and subscribe. Share this video with your friends. Also follow me in the socials. Those will be linked down in the description below. And once again, I thank you so much for taking the time to watch this review, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.